10/16, October 2004. CM Punk vs. Samoa Joe, round 2. First round was 6-12, Dayton, Ohio. Nobody won. It was a 60-minute time limit draw. The unstoppable monster, Samoa Joe, couldn't pin the immovable object, CM Punk. So here we are in Chicago. That's the big difference. Chicago, Illinois, my hometown, my backyard, if you will. Anybody who's a tough guy in any sport, any walk of life will tell you they know how to fight. They've gotten their ass kicked time and time again. I've gotten my ass handed to me plenty of times. It used to be I'd go to high school, I'd get beat up in the hallway. I'd get beat up after school in the parking lot. One particular time, a couple of kids came to my house. They rang my doorbell. I was in the middle of eating dinner with my parents. I stepped outside and I fought and I scraped and I clawed. And I didn't look pretty after it was over, but I won. That's the big difference. They came to my house. This is my house. This is Chicago, Illinois. This is where I was trained. This is where I was born. This is where I was raised. I'm probably gonna die here someday. So Joe, anybody watching this, my best friend Ches is gonna be in the crowd tonight. We got 2 legends, Mick Foley and one who's gone 60 minutes with the best in the business on more than one occasion, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, in attendance. So those of you sitting in the crowd, those of you at home watching this who know me, think for one single second that I'm not going to capitalize on all these points. You don't know me. You're sadly mistaken. This is my home court. Joe, you picked a fight. You just rang my doorbell. And I dare you to try to beat me in Chicago, Illinois. I dare you to try to pin me or submit me in my own hometown. It's not gonna happen, Joe. Your damn near 2-year title reign ends tonight. History in the making. Chicago, Illinois, 10/16/2004. 51st Ring of Honor show. New champion, CM Punk.
60 minutes, Punker. 60 minutes. In the span of 60 minutes, you proved one thing, and that you couldn't beat me. Tonight in your hometown, Chicago, Illinois, the birthplace of the straight edge hero, you think you have the advantage. You think you got my number. You think you can take what's mine. Punk, unfortunately for you, you fail to realize one thing. In 60 minutes, you failed. And tonight, you'll fail again.
B.I.G. is. I'm the greatest of all times. I'ma say it just like Ali did.
Introducing first to my left, the challenger from Chicago, Illinois. Representing the second season's CM
What an atmosphere we have here in the Frontier Fieldhouse in Chicago Ridge, Illinois. CM Punk challenging Samoa Joe for the world title. Both men shaking hands, respecting the code of honor, respecting each other, and we are underway.
Jimmy, you know how you can tell when two wrestlers in a match of this intensity really do have respect for each other?
Why don't you give us an answer, Mark?
You don't see the phony face-to-face, nose-to-nose stare down. Both of these men know neither man will be intimidated. And it's important to point out that CM Punk has home ring advantage. The Chicago Sun here trying to take the title in front of his hometown fans. And immediately, it's going to be Samoa Joe showing off his power. Jimmy, it's going to be very interesting, the early part of this match, because at World Title Classic, CM Punk came in with a revolutionary strategy. The first man that ever went to try to extend Samoa Joe, to test Samoa Joe's endurance, that was willing to take the punishment with a rope-a-dope, if you will, willing to just go up on the ropes and let Samoa Joe beat on him to try to wear Samoa Joe out. CM Punk realized that night that Samoa Joe does have the stamina to go an hour. CM Punk will most assuredly change his game plan tonight.
This is the rematch everyone's waited for since June 12th, World Title Classic. CM Punk, Samoa Joe going to a 1-hour draw for the world title. And many people call that the greatest match in Ring of Honor history. I'd be hard-pressed to disagree. A sure match of the year candidate. We got a quick cover! Right on with that strategy, Mark Nolte, as Punk going for the quick three and showing it to Samoa Joe.
Drop toe hold floats up into the crucifix pinning combination. It should also be pointed out, one of the very few men to pin Samoa Joe over the last 19 months was Colt Cabana in a non-title survival of the fittest elimination. And one of the things that Colt Cabana used was a pinning combination, used a back cradle to win that. And you know that CM Punk has been in contact with Cabana and has been strategizing with Cabana, what Cabana did successfully.
Cabana out with an injury tonight, not being able to be here in action in his hometown of Chicago due to Generation Next. And it is interesting to note that Cabana, right here in his hometown, had the world title shot at Samoa Joe last time in Chicago. Death Before Dishonor Part 2. Joe was unintimidated by going against the hometown guy, not letting the crowd play a factor in this one. Perhaps we'll see him keep that same poise tonight against the leader of the Second City Saints, CM Punk.
Overhand wrist lock now by Samoa Joe, and notice the way Samoa Joe is riding on top of CM Punk, making CM Punk carry that weight. Now CM Punk comes to his feet. CM Punk looking for the escape on the wrist lock, takes away with the extended wrist lock. Fireman carries the big man to the mat, and notice CM Punk is going to back away, doesn't want to make any mistakes early with Samoa Joe.
Almost a game of one-upmanship here. In fact, it is a game of one-upmanship. Punk with a cocky stare to Joe after he took him down. Another lockup between the two. Another intense lockup. Once again, Todd Sinclair, your official in this match.
And Samoa Joe using his power to bull CM Punk into the ropes. Todd Sinclair calling for the clean break. Clean break by Samoa Joe, but does protect himself on the break by making sure that CM Punk doesn't cheap shot him. Again, you have so much writing on this match. CM Punk didn't use the word guarantee, but he used every other word but guarantee when he talked about this match and how important it is that he walks out of here with the world title. Hammerlock reversal by Samoa Joe. Both men seem to contend to wrestle. Now Samoa Joe's going to bar the arm on that hammerlock. CM Punk looking for something. Because the arm's barred, he can't reverse it back out. Now CM Punk going to go to his knees. Samoa Joe going to follow him. He's going to bend that hammerlock back, fall away with his weight on that hammerlock. And last night, CM Punk had a match with Homicide where Homicide used that lariat and the back of a chair to punish the chair in the neck of CM Punk. And Samoa Joe's going to test that part of the body right now.
Punk reversing it on Joe. Comes up with Joe back on the arm. Both men having tough matches last night, but you know the adrenaline's flowing in them right now, and that's not going to play a factor in this one. Punk now, look at him walking away, keeping an eye on Joe as he does that. Another clean break, another standoff between these two athletes.
Well, we've talked about that the crowd may give a little bit of an adrenaline rush to CM Punk. Samoa Joe is used to at this point going into the match where the crowd is, I don't know, rooting against him, but rooting for a title change. They want to be part of the history that's going to come from seeing the longest reigning ROH champion, the man that really put the ROH title on the world map, lose the belt.
It will be history when Joe finally loses a title, if he ever does at this rate.
Now extended wrist lock by CM Punk, taking a few pages from the Nigel McGuinness playbook, rolling out from underneath it. Reverse drop toe hold by Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe floats up into the camel clutch.
Joe with a cocky gaze out to the crowd as well, showing them that he's not going to be intimidated by them cheering for CM Punk, although this crowd also behind Samoa Joe as they do appreciate and respect him. Joe now really rearing back on CM Punk there. That could definitely pop out a vertebrae or two. Punk though out of the hold.
CM Punk brings Samoa Joe to the center of the ring, drops into the side headlock into the prone position. Now CM Punk draping that leg across there into a riding position if he has to keep control of the headlock.
It's very interesting that Punk going for the headlock here, as that was a definite strategy he used in that World Title Classic match. He kept going back to the headlock to wear down Joe and frustrate Joe. It'll be interesting to see if he tries those same tactics one more time.
Great observation, Jimmy.
Whip out. Shoulder block, no one budging. Punk going right back to the headlock.
And hip toss takeover. And again, notice the way CM Punk is forcing his weight across the chest of Samoa Joe. Now he's going to grapevine the arm to go with the headlock, and that's going to make Samoa Joe carry that weight. It looks like CM Punk is preparing for another long match. Certainly, he doesn't want to make any mistakes in the early part of the match. Now Samoa Joe takes that away with the head scissors.
Artie's in my earpiece. He's telling me to get the plug out of the way, so I will. ROHWrestling.com, 215-781-2500 for all your wrestling merchandise needs. ROH DVDs from other companies. Ring of Honor is the new king of the shoot interviews with the Straight Shooting series. Check out Shoots with Mick Foley. Of course, you'll hear more about Foley and Flair on that one. Foley with some unbelievable words for Flair. Also Shoots with Too Cold Scorpio, Kamala, One Man Gang, The Fantastic, Steve Corino, Christopher Daniels, Ron Killing, Skandar Akbar, and much, much more. As Punk goes back to the headlock. Again, that's ROHWrestling.com, 215-781-2500. DVDs from lots of promotions besides Ring of Honor and the Straight Shooting interviews. The new king of the shoot interview is here, and it's Ring of Honor. Got that one out of the way quickly so we can get right back to the match and a side headlock by Punk.
Went for the Greco-Roman backdrop. CM Punk keeps on his feet and goes back to the side headlock. Speaking of plugs, let's give a plug to somebody that rarely gets a plug, but I think's done a great job lately, and that's referee Todd St. Clair. Since the Ring of Honor promotion has told the referees to emphasize the rules, they've adapted their officiating style. I think they've done a good job controlling matches. And Todd Sinclair, referees can get intimidated too by the importance of a match. Todd Sinclair has done a really good job keeping in the title match last night with Rocky Romero and Samoa Joe, immediately sent Homicide to the back to keep control of it.
That's why Sinclair was chosen as the official for this one. That's also why he was the official for Samoa Joe's Classic against Bryan Danielson at Midnight Express Reunion. That match going over 30 minutes. Many call that the match of the year. And Sinclair calling for the break right now.
Let's see if this is a clean break. No, there's the shoulder into the midsection. The second one by Samoa Joe. The third one by Samoa Joe. Knocking the wind out of the sails of CM Punk. Snap mirrors Punk to the mat. Comes in from behind with the reverse chin lock.
Samoa Joe perhaps a little frustrated with those headlocks. Not giving a clean break, but look at that. Punk reversing out of it into a front base lock.
Though technically, every time there's separation, it's a clean break. I know that's reading the rule book in the most technical way possible.
A cravat now by Punk. Many people see CM Punk as the future Ring of Honor champion. Can he realize that destiny tonight? And he goes once again to the side headlock.
CM Punk, nice chain wrestling from the headlock to the hammerlock, back down to back over to the headlock hip toss takeover. And CM Punk has been in so many brawls that I don't know if people respect how good of a technical wrestler CM Punk is, and he's showing that in this match right now.
Punk really rearing in that headlock there. Joe taking him into the corner once again. Once again, no clean break from Joe. He's just unleashing those chops.
Nice composure on the part of CM Punk as he got cheap-shotted twice on the breaks, once with the shoulder butts, once with the knife-edge chops, doesn't respond, instead goes back to wrestling the match he wants to wrestle, back to the headlock hip toss takeover.
Punk employing the same strategy he did at World Title Classic. Jay Lethal in the corner of Samoa Joe. Of course, he is Joe's protege, here to watch this match and lend some support.
almost Japanese style, where a lot of the wrestlers in Japan have seconds for their matches.
Joe trying to go into the corner, but Punk fighting his way out and keeping the headlock on. Nice agility by Punk, and Joe's very agile and quick for a big man, and in fact, even for a little man, he's very agile and quick. So Punk, very impressive, able to use that agility to keep the side headlock on Samoa Joe. The Ring of Honor World Champion has held that belt for over a year and a half. He's defended against all comers. Paul London, Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, Homicide, Moss, Whitmer, the list goes on. And Punk still holding the side headlock.
He got planted with a Greco-Roman backdrop. Sheer determination, hangs on to the side headlock. CM Punk appears, one of the differences between this match and the World Title Classic is it looks like CM Punk isn't going to go to the rope-a-dope. Does not want to take the shots from Samoa Joe, who is one of the best strikers in all of professional wrestling.
Perhaps Punk sensed that this headlock strategy did work and it did bring him within seconds of that world title. Maybe he thinks if he makes some adjustments later on in the match after using the side headlock, he will be your ROH World Champion. Shoulder block, no one budging. Joe challenging Punk to hit the ropes again. Oh, a pie face for insult right there.
Now these are mind games.
Third time no one budging. Punk picking up a head of steam. Goes for a cheap shot. Gets peppered for it.
Something I have never seen before. Samoa Joe goes to the floor.
You have to be here live to experience an atmosphere like this. Come on, Joe, kill it.
Samoa Joe with those open hand slaps, as you aptly put it, peppered CM Punk. Punk did not respond in kind. Instead, CM Punk went back to the wrestling, went back to the arm drag, went back to the back cradle, which is what Colt Cabana used to beat Samoa Joe at Survival of the Fittest. Samoa Joe, for the first time since I've seen him defend the title, went to the floor to regain his composure.
And it looks like that fan just made him lose that composure. Joe kicking the guardrail. Maybe this hometown crowd is really giving CM Punk a huge advantage, and it's getting to Samoa Joe.
Well, Samoa Joe, I think, is getting a little bit frustrated. CM Punk has insisted that this be a wrestling match. Samoa Joe has tried to get him out of that, has slapped him, shoulder butted him on the break, chopped him on the break, and can't get CM Punk to change his game plan.
Joe definitely looks frustrated. Punk, look at him, he's ready to go. Joe a little tentative.
Well, CM Punk is cautious about locking up too, and wisely so.
Go behind by Punk, takes the big man off his feet.
Reverse waist lock pickup. CM Punk. Again, this is a guy that you think of all the great brawls he's had, you don't think of CM Punk as a great technical wrestler, but he's been brilliant thus far in the match.
He's proved he can out-wrestle with anybody. He's proved that against AJ Styles. He proved that against Samoa Joe at World Title Classic. He's proved that against Homicide in the past.
Now reverses the ride. Samoa Joe with the hammerlock floats up. CM Punk covers up. Now he's going to sit out. Comes up with his own face, front face lock. Samoa Joe sits out. And look at CM Punk cover up.
Joe's got that fist cocked, and Todd Sinclair telling him to open up. Joe respecting the official. CM Punk, it also should be noted, is no stranger to winning ROH Gold in Chicago. The very first Chicago show, CM Punk and Colt Cabana ended the Briscoes' 6-month tag team title reign. That was Reborn Stage 2. An awesome match there. A huge victory celebration, and this one will be almost bigger.
Stalemate position. Samoa Joe, display of sportsmanship there, letting Punk back up to his feet on the stalemate.
Knuckle lock. Both men struggling, jockeying for position.
I'm not sure this is what CM Punk wants to be doing.
Oh, headbutt. Joe unleashing the big guns, but Punk firing right back. Punk missing the back fist and paying the price, being the recipient of that kick. Punk needs a breather now.
Punk needs to get back up in the ring. You don't want to fight Samoa Joe on the floor.
You hear a Joe chant from this crowd. The crowd definitely respects Joe. It's just that CM Punk is their hometown boy. We're in the second city of Chicago, and you're dealing with the leader of the second city Saints here.
Is it my imagination or CM Punk even more focused than he was at World Title Classic?
Both these men obviously studying the tape of that World Title Classic match, using some of the same strategies we saw in that match, coming up with new strategies, and even coming up with variations of the same strategies they used in that bout.
I would agree with that analysis. CM Punk wanted to offer a Greco-Roman knuckle lock, thought better of it.
Joe looks like he wants to play the striking game now.
And CM Punk thinking better of that as well. I think CM would rather lock up than try to strike with Samoa Joe.
And it does appear, as you mentioned earlier, Mark Nolte, that he's not trying to play the rope-a-dope game again. You see the pain on the face of CM Punk as Joe forces him down with that knuckle lock.
Nobody in ROH will have a power advantage against Samoa Joe.
Punk now trying to make, using leverage. Traps Joe, but his shoulders are down. Punk aware of that. Boy, it could end that quickly. Once again.
Wants to take him over. Look at Samoa Joe. Smart move by Samoa Joe. Look how he widens his base to keep Punk from being able to take him over with that head scissors. That's what Punk wanted to do. Samoa Joe with the counter. That's a lot of weight to monkey flip like CM Punk just did. But Samoa Joe hangs on to that Greco-Roman knuckle lock. I think this crowd is now showing its respect to both men because they know they're seeing a terrific wrestling match.
These people are getting behind Punk now. Every eye in this building glued to the ring.
Adrenaline burst by Punk.
Goes right back to the arm of Joe. Getting a little aggressive there with that boot.
I think these are the first strikes that CM Punk has used. Now goes right back to the arm drag, covers it for two.
Slamming that arm against the canvas. Drop kicking it. Punk going after that limb of Samoa Joe.
Punk is more aggressive than he was in the first title match.
Joe went down to the chop.
And that was right before I was going to say that he doesn't want to get into a chopping contest with Joe. Takes him down with a hammerlock. If you got to describe this match in one word, the word would be focus. CM Punk has been a very focused wrestler thus far. Has stuck with his game plan, and his game plan has been successful.
We're dealing with two very intelligent wrestlers here, two students of the game, two men just as adept at mind games as they are in their in-ring physical abilities. They are exhibiting all sides of their skills in this one so far. Punk hanging onto the arm, continues to twist and wrench it.
CM Punk is convinced that he can out-wrestle Samoa Joe. That if he doesn't get into a striking contest, that if it doesn't turn into a wide-open brawl, that he can win this match by out-wrestling. And thus far, I think it's a sound strategy.
Punk doing now? Climbing up to the top. Punk pulling out an old trick. I haven't seen him do that since 2002.
You can name all the wrestlers that can legitimately walk the ropes on one hand, and you just saw CM Punk do it.
That used to be an old trademark move from Punk. He has not done that in a couple of years. Punk pulling out some old tricks here.
And look at Punk right back to the rear chin lock.
But he's got that arm hook too.
Now he's going to take over the hammer lock. And again, he's going to use his head to guide Samoa Joe to the mat. Samoa Joe has kissed more canvas, I think, than even Bryan Danielson did a great job of coming in and wrestling Samoa Joe. I think CM Punk saw that match and saw that that's the strategy to go after Joe.
Joe vicious back elbows, but Punk cuts him off with another arm drag.
Well, you can tell CM Punk's been working out with Ricky Steamboat with that arm drag, can't you?
It's a thing of beauty. Joe just seems to be taking more and more punishment with each passing title match. You got to figure that being on top for this long, facing so many top opponents, the wear and tear is definitely getting to Joe. That's no secret. How much punishment can this man take as Punk's still hanging on to the arm? Every escape Joe is attempting has not worked. Punk now pulling Joe into the middle of the ring.
That's a key lock. That's something that you don't see that often. I have a feeling that's another hold he got from Ricky Steamboat.
Joe's got to get out of this soon. If you also neutralize that arm, you also take away Joe's chokehold. You take away Joe's ability to lift you for perhaps a muscle buster.
Drop kick right into the tricep.
Punk with a little jogging in place there, showing that he's feeling good while the world champion is in pain. Joe unleashing a big forearm. Again, right to the mug of CM Punk.
Punk stays with the wrestling.
Joe using his quickness and power all in one move.
When you can throw a forearm that hard, that'll even a match up in a hurry.
Now the question is, how can the world champion follow up and put the challenger away for good?
Snapmares him.
Joe going for that combo. It's worked in the past, but Punk was smart to it. Goes right back to the headlock.
Traps the ankle, takes him back down, then floats right back up into the rear chin lock.
If this keeps up, not only will Samoa Joe have an injured arm, he's also going to be very groggy from these front face locks, side headlocks. Definitely taking a toll on Samoa Joe. Punk attacking him on two fronts. Right back to the side headlock.
Samoa Joe tried to whip him into the rope. CM Punk wasn't going to have anything to do with it. Again, extended wrist, takes the wrist lock into the side headlock. CM Punk is a man possessed.
Both men spill through the ropes.
But CM Punk still has the headlock. With the Roman backdrop to the floor.
Joe getting desperate there. You hear the Joe supporters here.
In fairness to Joe, CM Punk would have done something similar if he had to and had the opportunity. I think one of the things that both men respect about each other is that they will go on head on after each other. Now, they're going to be very aggressive. They'll pull out all the stops. And in that sense, it will be fair. But both men will do what it takes to win. And both men realizes their opponent will do the same.
Todd Sinclair telling him to get into the ring. Of course, no countouts here in ROH. You can't be DQ'd if you're out there for too long. But I think Sinclair would let them wrestle the whole hour on the floor in this 60-minute time limit match before he rang for a DQ. 2 count there.
I think Sinclair's done a very good job with this match. As a matter of fact, I think all the ROH officials have really stepped up their game over the last several shows.
No doubt. Snap there over. No, once again, that kick blocked. Joe, though, counters. Big score for Samoa Joe with that knee.
This is Samoa Joe's first big opportunity for offense of the night.
Joe now has the chance to dictate the pace in this match. Let's see if he's able to take advantage of it. He's moving a little slow, though.
What do you say? Come on, Punk.
Samoa Joe has had the win restricted for a large part of this match. Now CM Punk in the corner, not covering up, and Samoa Joe blasting him with those chops.
Sweeps the legs out. Joe, though, cringing in pain when he tried to clap with that arm. Face wash time. Punk rolls out of the way, saves himself. Joe tries to follow him, but Punk cuts him off with a knee. Punk firing back now. Right on the jaw of the world champion.
My imagination of CM Punk particularly quick in this match tonight.
Punk is looking awesome. This could be it. The atmosphere is in the air. The title change. History could be made. Face wash now by Punk. Getting his receipt on Samoa Joe.
Now CM Punk getting the crowd into it.
He connected when Samoa Joe couldn't with the very same move. This could be the night of the challenger. The title reign could end right here in Chicago. Cover!
I think CM Punk's still feeling the effects of that Greco-Roman backdrop on the floor.
It's almost a shame we have to sit here and announce this, Nolte, because I really want to get in the crowd and watch this one. I even see Mick Foley watching this from the crowd. Punk now wants to see what he can follow up with.
Drives him with that knee in the back, face first into the mat from the second row.
Another move that I don't usually see from CM Punk. Turns him over. Cover.
Doesn't get the leg hook. I'm not sure that would have put Samoa Joe away anyway.
Punk trying another cover though. Don't forget, it only takes 3 seconds. That can seem like the longest time, period of time, or it can seem like the shortest space of time. 3 seconds, you just knock a guy out and you get him down for 3 seconds. That's it.
Traps the leg, kicks the hamstring. Now Samoa Joe looks like he wants an STF.
This made Rocky Romero tap last night. Doesn't have it cinched in, turns into a different kind of stretch. Can't Punk fight out of it? Joe really rearing back. How did Punk not tap to that? That could snap your spine.
Of all the great matches CM Punk has had, Jimmy, this may be his best.
The same can be said for Samoa Joe. The same can be said for ROH history.
Watch it, Joe, watch it.
Joe nonchalantly walks out of the way of that crossbody.
Samoa Joe, I think, still trying to catch his breath a little bit.
He has been slow to follow up.
Here come the Joe supporters back.
Backbreaker. Joe connects with a high impact move.
Now this is a fight for the tempo of the match. And now it's going to be the Samoa Joe style. The big impact moves and those vicious strikes.
Joe has Punk hooked. Takes him up for a vertical suplex, lets him think about it.
All the blood rushing to CM Punk's head.
Plants him.
The power of Samoa Joe on display.
Cover! Punk not even letting Joe get a 2 count.
He held CM Punk so high, all that blood rushing to the brain. I'm surprised he wasn't unconscious by the time he landed.
Punk now almost begging off into the corner. A couple of desperation kicks.
Well, he's definitely trying to create a little separation right here. Definitely needs to buy some time.
Punk jumps over that leg sweep. Scores with a drop kick.
Extended wrist lock by Punk.
This time Joe gets it. Takes Punk down. There's a look of frustration on the face of the world champion.
Just a brilliant wrestling match to this point.
No.
We need to see a winner this time. Joe trying to turn Punk over for that crab. Punk grasping the leg of Joe, trying to fight out of it.
Gets him turned. But CM Punk can use both legs to escape. That's the disadvantage of the Boston Crab versus the half crab. You get bent completely in half.
Which Joe's trying to do right now.
Now, if you sit back on it, now Punk can't power out of it. Now he's going to have to get to the ropes, and he will do so.
What guts, what courage we're seeing here by both men.
Back off, Joe.
Look at that chest heave of Samoa Joe. He knows he's in a battle for his title.
Get on him. Back off with those fists. Open those fists, Joe. Come on.
Joe so quick with those fists. Punk set corner to corner, and he's face down on the mat.
He didn't whip him into the buckle. He drove him into the buckle.
Get on it. Get on it.
Joe now trying to follow up.
I think Joe's starting to feel it now. I think Joe thinks that Punk's pretty close to ready to go home.
Joe unleashing a barrage of kicks. Punk, where's he getting it from?
European forearm uppercut, and Jimmy, I think CM Punk's eye is swollen.
Cover! With all these hard-hitting strikes and kicks, I would not be surprised if that eye was either busted open or blackened.
The first half of this match was CM Punk's style. This is Samoa Joe's style. Again, drives him into the opposite bucket. I think Todd Sinclair is trying to figure out if CM Punk can continue.
Punk showed a lot of heart not too long ago. I thought that he was down and out. You thought he was down and out, and he fired back. You can't count out CM Punk.
And Samoa Joe is moving in, but notice Samoa Joe does not throw caution to the wind. But Samoa Joe still respects the fact that CM Punk is more than capable from wrestling from behind. And CM Punk is more than capable of catching something quick if Samoa Joe leaves himself open.
The big story that just happened is when Joe tried that running boot scrape earlier, Punk had enough wit about him and enough inside of him to move out of the way. This time, Punk did not. Perhaps that's a sign that the challenger might be close to done.
Yeah, I think he's running on fumes now. He's taken a lot of punishment the last 5 or so minutes.
Not only that, but Joe has survived everything that Punk has dished out, from working the arm to the continuous headlocks to all the strikes, punches, everything that Punk has tried, even those new moves or the old tricks that Punk has pulled out, and the champion is looking stronger than ever right now.
I think Samoa Joe does not want Todd Sinclair to call this so tight, but it's given CM Punk just that quick respite that he needed to try to mount a flurry. But Samoa Joe is going to put an end to that vicious headbutt.
Look at Punk reaching for the ropes, reaching for something to help him. And what a cocky cover by Joe. By cocky's not the right word, insulting the way that Joe just planted his hand in the face of CM Punk. The challenger does have a blackened eye.
This is turning into target practice for Samoa Joe.
2, 3, 4. Pick it up, come on.
Now another stare down between Samoa Joe and Todd Sinclair. Samoa Joe, I don't think, is used to having his matches called so tight.
He is unleashing the heavy artillery now. Sinclair ordering him out of the corner. And Joe grants the wish by whipping Punk in, but Punk with a boot! Punk with a desperation hurricanrana scores! Joe slides out of the ring!
Tope suicida by CM Punk.
Almost a desperation move from Punk, firing back on the champion, showing that there's signs of life left in the challenger. Punk won't be denied in his hometown.
Come on, right there.
What's Punk doing?
He's not going to do what I think he's going to do.
He's pulling Joe's own ole kick out on Joe.
I don't know about this one. He connects with it.
Punk, driven by the support of the crowd, has Joe down.
CM Punk had been brutalized for about 10 minutes. Now trying to even up the punishment. How embarrassing is it for Samoa Joe to get hit with his own move?
At the same time, you can't win the world title on the floor.
Come on. Get in the ring.
Sinclair trying to get him into the ring. And it's going to be ole kick one more time. Punk nails it again.
CM Punk has completely turned this match around. Samoa Joe out on the floor. If CM Punk can get him back into the ring, he wins.
All I saw was the whites of Samoa Joe's eyes as his eyeballs rolled back into his head.
Time's up, Joe. Time's up, Joe.
Joe finding his way to his feet.
That will change the momentum in a hurry.
That may end this match. CM Punk is moving, but I don't know if he's conscious.
And look at Joe. Joe is pissed off. He knows that he took his own move. Now he's going to teach Punk a lesson.
Well, Punk's eyes are open, so he's conscious.
He cuts off Joe. Unleashing shots on each other. Ole time for Joe. Nails it.
Now is CM Punk conscious.
Holy shit! Holy shit!
What fury by the world champion.
Come on, man.
40 minutes so far.
Let the man catch his breath.
I didn't think that it was possible for this match to be better than World Title Classic. I was wrong.
Well, we really need to see a conclusive winner in order for it to surpass World Title Classic. But yes, we are seeing another World Title Classic right here.
Both men make their way back to the ring. I think CM Punk is out on his feet. Samoa Joe has the adrenaline, has the momentum.
Head scissors Takes Joe into the corner.
CM Punk creating a little bit of separation.
Cover!
Joe's got to start hooking those legs. Again, both men have taken so much punishment in this match that both men are moving that step slow. It's making it harder for them to capitalize on advantages.
Oh, Punk met with that kick. Joe now scores with a tope of his own, a flying forearm. Mark, I can't take it anymore. I see Mick Foley in the crowd. This atmosphere is incredible. I say let's go to the crowd. You gotta be a fan for something like this.
You know what, Jimmy, you're right. I think this match speaks for itself.
For Mark Nolte, I'm Jimmy Power. Enjoy the rest of this match and thank you for purchasing this home release. This is incredible!
Come on, guys, in the ring. In the ring, come on. You get in the ring. Joe, come on, let's go. Joe. Pepsi Blue.
You know, there's a few things I'm certain about. Unfortunately, there's a lot more that I'm uncertain about. I know that I couldn't get the job done in 60 minutes. I know you couldn't get the job done in 60 minutes, Joe. I know for a fact that my Pepsi Plunge can beat you because it beat you in Boston. Unfortunately, I wasn't the one that got the pinfall thanks to Homicide. I'm not sure that your Muscle Buster can pin me because you hit it as the time limit expired. I also know we can't do this again. If we can't be contained in 60 minutes, the answer is quite simple. Next time we meet, and there will be a next time, whether it's 4 months from now, whether it's 8 months from now, whether it's 1 year from now, I don't care if it's here in America, I don't care if it's in another country, I don't care if it's in ROH, but it will be for that belt, and it will be no time limit. And we'll find out exactly who is the king of ROH.
Second chance, punk. Second chance, punker. And you still didn't get the job done. Don't think you're getting any more. 60 minutes, but the job is to beat me. Not to survive me. It was a good effort. But it's your last one.